Coming up on Stoneation, what are you doing behind the scenes that is going to set you up for success so that customer can have that good experience with you?
Great question. And again, the main thing goes back to we empower our people with whatever capital or decision-making power they need to support the network. So what does that look like? To answer your questions more specifically, our parts department can order as many parts as they want. There's no dollar cap amount. In fact, they're often encouraged to increase the amount of inventory they stock. Our facilities, we continually encourage them to spend money on tooling that will help get the jobs done. We're unique in that we have 2 Zentry diagnostic tools for every tech.
Welcome to another episode of Stoneation, a production of Park Media. Before I introduce today's guest, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, share, and leave a 5-star review. And if you find this podcast useful in any way and want to pay us the ultimate compliment, head on over to our Patreon page where you can subscribe to be a Classic, Stealth, or Beast Mode subscriber. Stoneation, what's going on? I'm super excited to be able to present a 2-part miniseries for the grand opening of Mercedes Benz Van Center, Waner. In the first part, I sit down with Tony Waner, the general manager, Lance Decker, the service department manager, and Andrew Cooley, the CRO of Storyteller Overland. The 4 of us talk about the significance of the grand opening and what they're doing to train their techs to work on not only the chassis but also the house part. We also talk about the fact that the new Van Center will be a one-stop shop for everything you'll need, from renting a Storyteller to purchasing one to the service and repair. And you can even wash your van in their new Van Wash, which is pretty cool. This is a great episode to learn what Mercedes Benz Van Center Waner can do for you and the eagerness to put the customer first and build a personal relationship every time. And lastly, the second part of this mini-series is all about the new Volta Master Service Center that will be located at Acorn Vans, which is a company owned by the Van Center. So with that, please sit back, relax, and welcome Tony and the entire Mercedes Benz Van Center Waner to the Stoneation family.
Welcome back.
And there we go.
Good practice round.
Oh my goodness. Well, I did mess up in the beginning, so at least I can try to redeem myself a little bit.
Just when we think you totally redeem yourself.
It might sound rehearsed now.
Well,
Right.
I swear to God, I need to make like a montage of just like a bloopers reel of just everything that has gone wrong or just hilarious. I swear to God.
I'll throw a few more in there for you.
As one of my good friends used to say, hee-haw. Anyways. But, I'm not perfect.
No way. I thought you were.
You had me fooled.
Yeah, come on.
I fool everyone. But anyways, yeah, so we are here at the Mercedes Benz Van Center, Waner,
Stoneation.
on Stoneation, grand opening. So, which is really cool because you put together a 2-day grand opening, which involved a lot of stuff. And as you can see in the background, we have a lot of vendors out there, and it just seems like you have a lot of support in the community for this grand opening. So that's really cool. So I wanted to talk to you guys about what that really means and what we can expect from you, right? So, and we have Andrew Cooley here from Storyteller.
Woo.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
of course.
This is like the van life mecca here, by the way. If you aren't watching the video, you need to. This is amazing. This place is. They're absolutely laser focused on van life and everything that you could possibly want and need. The service facilities here, the staff, the sales, the absolute environment when you walk in. The culture permeates throughout every square inch of this building, and you can also feel it whenever you're talking to any single person here at Waner. It's amazing. Thank you so much for building this van life mecca.
Hey, thank you for those kind words. We'll work to live up to those.
Yeah.
100%.
So Andrew, if you want to talk about how all this came to fruition, how you met Tony and why you decided to link up with him to sell Storyteller here at Mercedes Benz Van Center Waner.
Yeah, so traditional RV manufacturers look at dealers as their customers. We don't do that. Our dealers are our partners. So we want the right partners, right? So we had a very thorough kind of process of vetting the correct dealers out across the country. We actually went over 560 plus dealers. Each one had a score in 10 different categories. Each category was weighted differently. I'm not going to go into all of them, but I'll just say the heavily weighted category, average tenure of employee. That tells you everything you need to know about the leadership culture of a dealership, right? So Waner at the time was a Freightliner dealer, and they were one of those lead eight dealerships that we identified as having, hey, if little old Storyteller that nobody even knows about can simply one day over the next 5 years get these 8 dealers, we're probably going to make it and be successful, you know? And so it didn't happen overnight. It took a little bit of time.
Kind of like waiting for your Sprinter.
Well, hey, you know what? We don't have to get in that, all right?
Sprinter's all
Sore
about being
subject.
hard to get. I'm not. This isn't a jab at Andrew or Storytellers. I'm just saying Sprinters in general are hard to get.
Well,
Yeah.
it's just, you know, you have to be truthful.
Reminds me of my last prom date.
Anyway, Andrew, you were saying?
And so, we did not form a relationship right from the beginning. Again, nobody knows who Storyteller is out of the gate, and that's okay, right? We have to prove ourselves as well, too. And so last year...
On that note, I might interrupt for just a second.
Go ahead.
We had relationships before with other manufacturers, and the experience was not favorable in any way, shape, or form. And so that was a large part of why we hadn't jumped on.
But those manufacturers also did not have the leadership culture that Storyteller has.
Right. And so there was a pretty telling, distinguishing story with Storyteller. But
And so, for the next 3.5 years, we needed a service facility in Salt Lake City. There's no doubt about it. We have a huge customer base here. But we were unwilling to sign up the wrong dealer. Okay, so last year at VanFest, which was co-sponsored with us and Seeker, amazing event. National Parks Band came and played. Amazing! Wow,
It was.
what I mean,
Yeah.
just incredible. We
It
had
was
the
a
best
great
time there,
time.
right?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I think there was only like maybe 5% of the total vans there were like actual Storyteller vans.
Not even that.
Not even that. Everything else was like
Yeah.
DIY van or DIY build, box truck. It was amazing,
Yeah.
right? So our creative director, Amy Siebert, met KJ standing in, Kelly Jo, who's amazing here at Waner. And she met
she's our
KJ,
Storyteller rock star.
She met KJ standing in line to get some, I think it was like some kind of smoothie or something like that. I could be wrong. Sorry, Amy. And so Amy brought her back and introduced her to Bouge, TC Bougie. And so him and KJ hit it off. And then, of course, Bouge brought her over to me, and I started talking with her. And then she was telling me about y'all's dealership, right? And I said, wait a second. Is this the place X, Y, and Z? And she said, oh, yeah, absolutely. And so I went into the whole story, from a couple years ago. And then that Monday, I drove up here, and Tony grilled me for about 2 hours straight, right over there in that room. Mm-hmm. And we're just truthful as Storyteller. We're honest. And so once he realized, wow, these folks are the real McCoy, right? It was a very fast process after that. Tony's fourth generation automotive dealer, now RV dealer, right? I'm fourth generation RV dealer. So we have that in common. We're same exact age. So we, after that grilling was over with, we just got along amazingly, right?
Yeah.
And it's just been absolutely wonderful ever since. And I'm so happy to see them go from a Freightliner dealership to a Mercedes Benz dealership, which is not easy to have done. How many people, what's the percentage of that actual transfer over, Tone? What do you think?
I don't believe the numbers are confirmed yet, but there were approximately 30, and roughly 5 to 7 will convert.
Right. So, I mean, it's not an easy thing to do, right? And they've done it here at an extremely high level. You should see this place. If you haven't been here yet, please carve out some time. Come to Salt Lake City. Come to this place. You will not be disappointed. And so, we just have a culture of actually caring. Like, you can act like you care. You can act like you're there. They're there. They're there for you. They're there for you. Is anybody perfect? No. Is any product perfect? No. We would love to deliver the perfect storyteller to your dealership. That's probably not going to happen every single time. But when something does go wrong, we know we have full confidence that not only can y'all fix it, you can fix it at a high level, and you can do it. You can convey that message with truthfulness, insight, and give somebody a really great experience from start to finish.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah. So, Tony, what does this mean for you now that you are certified storyteller, everything, basically, right? So do you want to talk about what you can offer? And I'm more curious in the fact of, like, if someone has a plumbing issue or a furnace issue or, all the different systems inside the house compartment, what you guys have done or doing to be able to gear up to make sure that your staff can meet the needs of the storyteller community.
Yeah, great questions, and thanks for the opportunity to go over this. First of all, the thing that really signed us up was just understanding that Storyteller as a company was so dedicated to the experience of the owner, right? That was one of the things that really set them apart from the other manufacturers. They're not a mass producer, right? They're not sell it and forget it. And that does not go with the way we operate or the kind of manufacturers we want to work with. With that being said, we came from the Freightliner heavy truck dealership, where we were a top performing dealership at many levels. And the thing that made that the case was that, particularly with heavy trucks, if that truck was to come to our dealership, we had to understand that just for that truck to be out of service to come to us, that company was missing out on the revenue they would otherwise be generating for that truck, not just for that day, but for the duration of the repair before we ever build them anything.
Which means you'd have to actually care about the customer.
Well, it's understanding that when we understand that and help them succeed, they're more likely to come back and therefore make us succeed. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship when we give it the opportunity to be that way. But that also means we have a lot of commitments to make in terms of not just representing the customer, but also representing the manufacturer and being the bridge between the two, which means specialty facilities, specialty tooling, specialty training. And it's bringing in, probably the most important part is a unique set of people that can wrap their minds around that and wrap their motives around that and convey that in a way that the customer can understand it, receive it, and hopefully appreciate it. It doesn't always go appreciate, and that's okay. We're here to provide service, right? But that's one of the reasons we're grateful to have Lance at the Mercedes dealership, and then we also have Van Builders and Acorn for the house side. So I think really the service side is so heavily dependent on the service manager. Like, really, my role here is to support Lance and give him access to whatever he needs and give him whatever authority he needs to make sure that he can fulfill the commitments and obligations to take care of the customers. So I don't know all the magic of Lance, but I know it's there, right? And I think it'd probably be best, Lance, what would you say are the top things, or what are you doing from the service department's perspective to what would they come to you and your team for?
Most of the stuff they'll come to us for is maintenance, chassis issues. One of the difference between us and a normal Mercedes dealer is, like on a Storyteller, if it has a house issue, we're willing to actually take a time to look at it, help the customer. If it's something that's beyond us, obviously it's going to have to go to an outfitter or anything like that. But we want to take care of the customer regardless, no matter what. So all of our technicians are willing to take time to look at a house issue where we know the mechanical side of the chassis inside out. We're a specialty side of the Mercedes. We only do Sprinter. We could care less about the cars. We have nothing to do with them. We don't want anything to do with them. So our focus is just on chassis. I guess we're just trying to make sure we always take care of a customer, regardless of what it is, anything to do with a Storyteller van or a fleet van. It's just, what are we going to do to take care of them? And Tony's given me the green light to do whatever I have to do to make sure I take care of our customers. My goal is to have other Mercedes call us and go, "What's your secret sauce?" Well, it's just care. I've worked for two of the largest dealer owner groups in North America, and they look at customers as numbers. How many can I cash them out, get what I want from them, and then I'm done. Hopefully they come back for more.
Yeah.
And where we don't do that here. We're here for the long term.
Is it true that someone can come in without an appointment and get a service A and B the same day?
Absolutely.
We close at 5:30, so as long as it's before 5, generally, yes.
Boom.
Right.
That's one way that you show care, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Most dealers are telling customers for a B service it's 3 to 4 days, and we're telling them it's no more than 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
Right? And I guess it's the difference. It's just like a fleet vehicle where it's down, it's costing money. A customer, in a van, anything.
Well, in this case, it could just be disrupting a big trip where
Yeah.
you have deadlines of places you need to be.
Well,
Right,
also,
and time isn't just money. It's what are you doing? You're on it, like you just said, you're on a trip. So to have a van down for 3-4 days to get a service done, well, now they just ate up to their vacation where we can get it done in a couple hours. They can take the time, go eat lunch, dinner, whatever, and by the time they get back, their van's ready to go. They can go on to their next location or go back to whatever they were doing and just enjoy their time.
yeah.
So I will say this: we're not perfect, but what I do appreciate, especially about Lance's team, is that what he talked about earlier. They're willing to give it their best, and they do to give it their best, and then they ask questions and they learn where we're deficient. So to me, that's a key factoid. Like a lot of dealers, specifically OEM dealers, whatever brand it is, if it's not something that's in the repair manual, they won't touch it. Right? Like that's
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm-
that's just
I'm
standard
the same way.
across the
That's
board.
more
I don't
and
even
more.
look at the review. I'm just like, here, take it. I don't know what's going on.
Well, but what I'm saying is if they can't calculate that they're going to be able to bill this many hours and do it in this many fewer hours, they don't want to take the risk. Right? But like having met a lot of these storyteller owners, I think Lance knows a lot of them by name, and he knows their issues. And some of those issues we haven't been able to resolve yet.
No,
but-
we're still working on them.
But to me, that's part of being a dealer where I'm not saying it's Storyteller's fault. Sometimes it's Mercedes' fault, and sometimes it's one of the suppliers' fault. Or sometimes it's the way the user's using it, right? Or reporting the issue. So to me, it goes back to what are we doing to add value to the experience? And if the customer's willing to work with us and work through it, we're normally pretty lenient on what we bill if we're not fixing things. Is that fair to
Oh,
say?
100%. There's things that, we'll just look at, take care of, and don't get me wrong. We always want to try to have billable hours and everything like that, but sometimes you just take care of it regardless. It just, I'd rather take care of a customer, make them happy, because I know they'll be back and they trust us then.
So what are you guys doing to prep for the influx? Because the way that I kind of look at it, and I know the community looks at it this way, is that you're in Salt Lake City, which is a central hub to almost everything outdoors where you want to take your van. So like kind
The
of
crossroads of the West.
yeah. I mean, you literally like people go from Colorado down to California and vice versa. But because you're going to have all these vans out there that you didn't have, well, technically you did have access, but now people really know that you are storyteller certified. Are you doing anything to prep? Like, are you trying to stock up on parts? Are you, getting more personnel? Like, what are you doing behind the scenes that is going to set you up for success so that customer can have that good experience with you?
Great question. And again, the main thing goes back to we empower our people with whatever capital or decision-making power they need to support the network. So what does that look like? To answer your questions more specifically, our parts department can order as many parts as they want. There's no dollar cap amount. In fact, they're often encouraged to increase the amount of inventory they stock.
100%.
Our facilities, we continually encourage them to spend money on tooling that will help get the jobs done. We're unique in that we have 2 Zentry diagnostic tools for every tech.
What does that mean?
So in order to plug in a technician to talk to a Sprinter van, you need a Zentry tool, which is only obtainable through Mercedes. So you take a van to an independent dealer, they may be able to slap a generic oil filter on or air filter and throw their generic oils in, or they might be able to read and scan codes or clear codes, but they can't reflash or reprogram or do any of the critical functions, get any of the critical data or the detailed data that you need to really diagnose and repair the van. So that's one of the things that sets us apart. Those aren't cheap.
No, they are not.
That's a significant portion of our recurring monthly expense, but it's one that we're glad to bear because, again, the customer doesn't know it behind the scenes, but if you dealership doesn't have enough Zentry machines, some of those processes take anywhere from 2 to 8 hours to reflash the computer. So if I have one technician and there's one tool, I may have a technician available, but if I don't have the diagnostic tool, the technician is worthless to the customer.
Yeah.
Right? So that's just an example. But I was impressed, Lance, early on we had some storytellers delivered and there was an issue with the air conditioning and it was just a strange tick at high speed. And Lance took it upon himself to call the manufacturer, get a dealer agreement, get the parts, and get the solutions so we could get the customer back out on the road. And that's the kind of initiative that we like to see and we commonly see from our managers. And Lance is a great example of that. So again, we're kind of trying to knock down the most common components first and then move down the line. Again, some of this is new to us, right? Mm-hmm. So Air Excel with the air conditioners. We have dealer agreements there for the dealership and for van builders. We recently signed up with Volta, so we will be a top-tier master service center. That's a pretty big deal. So we'll be able to diagnose, replace, and in certain instances even get into the specific components and repair guided by Volta. So that's a first. That's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Really think about that. That's incredible.
No, it is because everybody's been asking since, the dawn of time, or at least the dawn of storytellers, is Volta going to have regional shops so they can get their stuff, because they've had harness issues lately, and so people, I know Jack and his team is, they're moving heaven and earth to take care of the customers, but it's also nice to be able to just drive up somewhere and be like, hey, I have an issue, can you look at it real quick?
Well, the only reason they've had issues because supply chains. That's it. I mean, there were no issues before, and so let's be honest. And every issue that's come up, they diligently work towards a solution with us, with our dealers, with our customers, and having the ability to diagnose those type issues here, and having your staff know how to fix those issues.
Well, a new element is also that we will be what's called a stocking dealer, which means we can stock components on our shelves. So rather than waiting for a piece to be shipped in, chances are, or our goal, I can't guarantee this, our goal is to be able to say, oh yes, we've seen this happen on several of the units, so we've had parts on order, we have them in stock, we should be able to have this in and out within this period of time.
Incredible. And, how is all that possible here at Waner? You are your reputation. Whatever your reputation is, you work very hard on a daily basis to earn it, right? 4 generations, doing things the right way, being uber successful at the highest levels. This is the culmination of that. This is only Sprinter vans here. There's only vans here. Only vans. Oh, excuse me, Transits
We
here too.
welcome Transits too, and
yeah.
we'll even welcome ProMasters.
Whoa. No, I'm just joking.
It's rough.
Lance has extensive ProMaster experience, by the way.
I do.
And this is also our second Mercedes Benz dealership to have at Storyteller. It's not normal for a automotive facing dealer entity to carry a recreational vehicle product. And the reason that is because they can't do house service work, right? That's not what they can do traditionally. You can get it done here.
Well, I will say this, admittedly, today we are not your most knowledgeable house service center. I don't want to
Not yet.
make any
Assumptions.
I don't want anyone assuming that we are the best of the best. But that's
Yeah.
not to say that we don't have the trajectory.
Yeah.
And
What does that timeline look? What for your goal that you want? What is that timeline? 1, 2, 5 years? What are we talking about here?
I don't think we're measuring in years. We're fortunate that with the van builder staff, we already have a variety of RVIA certified techs. So it's not that they don't have the knowledge of how to fix the issues. It's a matter of familiarity.
Mm-hmm.
And if I mispronounce that word, try saying it and you'll probably do the same thing.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Familiarity.
There you go. Better than I did.
I had to do it slow though.
But my point there is
Repetitive.
the beauty of recreational vehicles is they're relatively simple. The challenge is learning the nuances of how things are supposed to be taken apart and put back together, and
Well,
which elements to look for, right?
I don't know if this might be an idea or it could be in the works, correct me if I'm wrong, but are you going to send any of your mechanics out to Storyteller so they can watch them build and learn how everything and the nuances and idiosyncrasies and
Our philosophy on training is that it's open, meaning if there's courses available and we have technicians willing to attend and apply themselves,
They go.
they're paid to do so, and then their compensation will increase for doing so. So that applies to RVIA, that applies to Mercedes. We even have scholarship programs for people to go to technical colleges that aren't necessarily manufacturer supported.
That's cool. Are you guys open to that on the Storyteller side to have people come in and because I know everything is proprietary.
He's nodding his head. I
Well,
won't tell you
it's-
which
absolutely.
It's
direction.
funny you say that,
1000%.
and I was talking with Thor, and I was giving him a hard time, telling him I wanted to come back, because me personally, I want to see what's going on just to
Yeah.
get a depth.
Absolutely. Yeah. 1,000%. There's no doubt about that. I will also say this, there's a lot of unique things inside the Storyteller that are very different than any other RV that's ever been made, ever. And they're unique on purpose. They're different, right?
Yeah.
But what's really happening right now in the RV industry is you have the RVTI, Recreational Vehicle Technical Institute, that has just now opened in Elkhart, Indiana. And they are doing a huge major league push for online courses to certify any former service technician into an RVIA certified tech, RVIA master certified technician. Okay, and that's a huge difference between the two. Those courses are taught once a week. They're taught online, and so everybody has the ability to access that. We're open to any one of our dealerships sending any of their service technicians, any of their members at all, to Storyteller HQ. 1,000%. Please come. Please come.
Well, you heard it first here.
Right?
There we go. Lance, let's start booking some flights, man.
For sure.
And then the last thing I would say, I'm big on like going and doing something new and scary. Like to me, that's exciting. So just briefly, I had an experience. I got a bug to go to Baja, and I have a dangerous amount of mechanical knowledge to where I know what could go wrong. I know what one might do to fix it. I know what tools and parts are generally needed, but I'm probably not the guy to make the proper repair. Okay? I've gotten myself in plenty of situations where I needed to do something and I got out of those situations, but this was a scenario where I was taking a group of people that had no idea what to do in those scenarios, and it would have all been on me. So having gone through that experience, and what we did to address that is one of my best friends is a master Toyota technician. And with my work schedule, I don't have time to build my own vehicles, so he built all my own vehicles. Well, I convinced him to come with me. I said, hey, we'll do this, this, and this. It'll be awesome. And he came with me. And the reason I bring that up is because I can understand, having watched these owners of these vans, that the vans aren't perfect, right? And there's certain places you don't want to be and have certain things happen. And so one of the things I hope the community learns about us is our willingness and eagerness to go out and support events and the people that are trying to do those kinds of things. So, for example, Lance is coming to Baja. Our lead tech is coming to Baja. We're bringing tools and parts to Baja. We're bringing a truck and a trailer that can tow a Sprinter back out, get it back home, right?
Nice.
Like I hope other dealers do that. I don't think they will. And if they do, I want to go have lunch with them and compare notes and figure out how we're going to do this better. I'm also a big proponent of education. So I've built some really cool cars before, and I thought they could do everything. And then I've seen guys in trucks they got out of the junkyard do stuff I would never dare do. I'm talking old Chevy trucks with big block engines and bald tires climbing up to the top of sand dunes I couldn't touch. And why? How can they do that? Like it just drove me nuts, right? Like it was a blow to the ego, but at the same time it was like a major catalyst of curiosity, and it's just like they have experience. Mm-hmm. So what's
now, are you bringing anything like that to Baja? Well, maybe is that top secret? Is that classified information?
For Stowe listeners, Patreons only.
That's right.
For a mere $5 a month, you can learn about
less than a cup
El
of coffee.
Sprintero.
No, that's going to be pretty cool when you bring it out there. I won't say anything, but whatever is said is from your mouth, not mine. I'll put it that way.
We'll just throw this out there. Chevy El Camino, Sprinter, American horsepower.
Synergy.
Let's go to
Asymmetric
Baja.
symmetry.
Yeah.
No, but we're super grateful for Storyteller. I mean, we talked about this. We did the Beyond the Pavement together. I think you participated in that first one, and we had a little session on that. And I love doing stuff like that. Like,
That's
to
fun.
Yeah, Lance and I were there, and we had a blast. And
Well, the one thing I really liked about that is that I got to see you two in your element, right? Because it's one thing coming here, managing the service department, the center, et cetera, but
we kind of just like
It's business.
we look
here.
like
Yeah.
off-road posers here, staying in the facility.
It's like, oh, he's just guy dressed nicely, telling
What's he
people
trying
what
to
to
sell
do,
me now?
Yeah.
But being out there, like, it really was apparent, at least for me. I'll only talk for myself, but what I'm trying to say is that I knew you before that, but I really got to know what you guys were all about when we were at Beyond the Pavement. Because not only did you bring, the Sprinter van to help if anything broke down, but you guys were also there teaching the classes, and just the knowledge that you guys had and brought to the table was like, you can't put a price on. Well, I mean, technically you can, but I mean, some of the stuff that I learned from you guys was just ridiculous. And I know a lot of people took away the same thing that I did. And so when you guys do stuff like that, I think it's fantastic. You guys are out there
By the way,
freezing with us.
We use the term "fantastic" around here.
Oh, fantastic! I like
fantastic.
it. All right. That was fantastic. But yeah, I definitely can totally see what you guys are really, really about. And I think you have to get re-energized sometimes. You know, a place like this, no offense, but any job can beat you down, right? And being able to go out there and do what you guys really love and then share that passion with other people, I think, is very rejuvenating. And I hope you guys plan on doing that. I know you're going down to Baja, but, you know, I hope you continue doing stuff like that with the community.
I think Trevor from Flare Space said there's like 500 people, 500 vans coming to Baja.
I think there's 250 reservations and figure 1.5 to 2 people per van.
Okay. That's incredible.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Right? What a amazing place to go to gather information, to talk with individual owners, to see what it is they like and don't like.
So I'm going to throw a quick shout out that I think is really cool. Story we learned about Mercedes over the last couple days.
Mm-hmm.
So the head of parts, service, and logistics. So the guy that's responsible for everything after the van's made, right? Minus actually selling the van. Actually bought his own van, is having it built out with the more popular accessories, and he's taking it to Baja with the intent of being able to go back to the engineers and say, this is what people are doing with our stuff. How are we going to adapt to that? So to me, that's the kind of people we want to work with. That's flat out awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that's a serious financial commitment. That's a serious customer commitment and a time commitment, right? It's not like they have nothing better to do. But anyway, we're super stoked on the events, and we want to, if there's a big event happening in Utah, we want to be a part of it. We want to support it I love feeding people. Food is the common denominator.
I love eating, so there it is.
Right.
And I love feeding people. It brings people together. It gives people a chance to catch up and talk and level, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter which brand you are, everyone eats.
Right.
Oh, 100%. And one of the coolest things is when we do these events, normally there's a lot of times we don't get to talk to a customer. And, we usually will talk to them about what's wrong with their van. A lot of these people that showed up today are normal day-to-day customers. And on my side, I've had a great day just hanging out, talking with them. And just random things. It's not even about vans, or it's, hey, what can I do to it? And just educating them, helping them out, and just interacting with them. This is what I want to come to work for every day.
Yeah.
And then just everybody from Storyteller. I met them last summer, and they're some of the coolest people I've ever come across. I've been in the auto industry for over 25 years, and these are some of the funnest people, and they care, and that's what I really enjoy about a lot of this.
Yeah.
You get to really be yourself.
Yeah.
You get to really be yourself, and you see that. You go out, you interact with the community. The community is their self. Everybody's individual. Everybody's different. But you can see just from what we've talked about right here, how our cultures align at Storyteller and at Waner, right? And that's really the most important thing with our dealer partners. Do we share the same culture? And we absolutely share it here. No doubt about it.
That's awesome. The one thing I want to touch on before I forget is that you guys have like state-of-the-art sprinter washing.
Oh, this is cool. This is awesome. I'm gonna say
I don't even
that.
know
This
what
is
to
so
call
cool.
it other than like the ultimate bath for your sprinter, or shower, should I say, not a bath.
Yeah.
But do you want to talk about that real quick?
I think this is Lance, and I would call it the outdoor shower.
Right. So it's been a heavy work in progress, and we're still working on it. But we have an actual.
But it is functional.
It is 100% functional. It washes a van extremely well, and it's a touchless. We use a chemical. It's more of a chemical bath, but high pressure gets them clean. We just, like Tony said, we just got it up and running. We're going great with it. We're dialing it in. But yeah, we actually have a true van wash, and that's what we actually call it. It's not a car wash, it's a van wash. And we want to encourage everybody to come down. It's inexpensive.
How much is it?
Right now, we're selling our car wash for $35 a wash. And, I mean, you go anywhere in the Salt Lake Valley, you're looking $60 to $90 to wash one of these things.
Does it wash underneath the carriage?
It will wash underneath the carriage. You can have your roof rack, your gear on top of it, and it won't tear it off.
It was kind of cool. I'm going to make a little plug here. So
Right.
Tim from Adrenaline Vans was a rock star.
Yeah.
He made it out here super short notice, but I don't know if you've ever seen his van.
Oh, I've
It's
seen it.
immaculate.
It is the tallest van I've ever seen.
But it's always immaculate as well.
It's also always immaculate, but if I'm not mistaken, it's a lifted four-wheel drive
170E.
170E with a roof rack and a Wii Boost with all the extenders on it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a couple rocket boxes up there. So the fact that that thing can make it through there gives you an idea of what we designed it for. And that is like that's a little bit on the extreme of what we imagine. We imagined electricians going through with four ladders on top of their van.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just a great example of what it's capable of.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So what's the height? Is there a height limit on that thing?
14 feet.
14 feet? Okay. That's pretty tall.
14 feet, you can put a semi in it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Somebody's what, 13.6?
Yep.
Okay.
Wow. That's really cool. I still need to get my van through there.
We're going to get it through today.
We'll get you through.
Yeah.
So I will say this. It is not the wash for like the black car to go through and come out glossy brand new.
Mm.
Right? I just want to set reasonable
Right.
expectations. This is for you've been driving on the salty roads here,
Mm-hmm.
or you went off-roading and there's mud and undercarriage stuff. It gets the grime off. It's not the glossy finish. We'll work on that. We'll get there. But as of now, it's to get it. We call it the 10-foot look.
Yep.
So at 10 feet, it looks pretty clean.
And we're working on it. I mean, I envision that soon enough we will have this thing dialed in, and it will have a great look to it when it gets done.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about it, too, is that it recycles, 70-80% of the water?
At least.
At least?
Yeah,
Okay.
and we actually are projecting that we might even be higher than 80%.
Yeah.
So we're not losing any water. I mean,
But that's a big deal in Utah. So because we have been and we will continue to be in a mega drought. And so we can't, those things crank out 100 gallons plus.
an average wash is between 80 to 120 gallons.
What do you charge for a tour to see the recycling system? That's a joke.
Yeah, let me get it underneath the hood of that thing. No, I'm just
Yeah, right?
It's incredible. It really and truly, when you see the inner workings of it, it is amazing.
Well, I just think it is. I just am super excited because someone can literally come here. They can buy, they can rent, they can do whatever. They can go have fun. If something breaks, they can come back here. You guys will help them out. And after everything's said and done, they're going to drive away with a clean vehicle.
But what else is going over there in that building?
Well, I mean, that's part of our rental building. So washing vans, getting them delivery ready, we call it, or detailed. It takes space, and we've been semi-cruel to our employees, and forever they were doing it outside, but we needed a place for them to do that inside with our climates, and so now we've got that.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, we have a full detail bay on the other side of it.
I need to visit that too. Kimchi runs amok in my van, but anyways, well, I'm super excited for you guys. You had a fantastic grand opening. I'm super excited to see where you guys are at in 1, 3, 5 years. I think you guys are going to definitely be a stakeholder in the community to be the mecca to get your van fixed and serviced. And unless you guys have something else, I got one last question for you guys.
I might throw 2 things in there. Number one, thank you for the opportunity to do this, and we look forward to living up to the storyteller environment and culture that Andrew and his team have created and contributing to that. The last thing is, it was kind of cool. Mercedes, when they were in here, we said, hey, what can we be doing different? What do you want us doing? And this is a major compliment to Lance and Brennan. He said, well, actually, I was hoping we could share some of your guys' best practices with the other dealers. So I can brag about that because we got Lance and Brennan on our team. And again, that's not to say we're doing everything perfect, but it goes to show that we're doing something right and we're on the right track, right? And we just got to we will keep pressing to push the envelope and do what we need to do.
That's awesome. So my last question is a question that I end all podcasts with. And you know this from being on the podcast prior, so we'll start with you first. Andrew, what does it mean for you to be part of Stoneation?
Stoneation. It means thank you, Stoneation. Thank you. Once again, for listening. Young Y, thank you for spending your free time to do this. You don't have to do this. This is amazing. Everybody loves you. And so thank you for doing that as well, too. We know there's a vibrant community behind not just Stoneation or Storyteller vans, but on all vans in particular, right? And so to what you're doing when you interview everybody that has a hand to play in not just Storyteller vans, but in the community, and you get to hear the insider's voice, you get to hear the real news, not the fake news, not the alternate facts, but the real facts, right? It's incredible. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Right? Just real quick, very quickly also, you do rentals here as well at Waner Vans.
Yeah, we were super stoked about Go Camp before and after the joint venture, merger, acquisition, whatever you want to call it, with Storyteller, but we've now got all of our recreational vans on Go Camp.
How many Storytellers do you have for rent here?
We've got one Classic, one Stealth, and two Beasts.
Nice.
And one of those is based out of Moab.
So, I mean, really think about that. It's, some people are waiting because of various issues that are outside of anybody's control, months to years to get their Storyteller. Some people haven't even seen one, right? You can come here and rent one. Rent it. Fall in love with it. Do all the stuff and things. Break the rental. Let Waner fix the rental, and then when you get yours, it's perfect, right? Do that.
Learn what not to do on their vans.
Right.
Absolutely, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
You can thank him later.
Hey, per our contract, we'll bill you later.
Please do.
Oh no, the customer. If you break it.
Well, so Lance, what does it mean for you to be part of this donation community?
Wow. Just the ability to actually, hear what people have to say and be able to put what I want out there to prove my commitment to our, the STO customers and just all van customers. And the other fun thing is kick it with you and just hang out.
Yeah.
And it's always a good time. I mean, I got to meet you and a lot of everybody last summer, and I've been to a ton of events now, and it's fun just hanging out.
Couldn't agree more. Tony, what does it mean for you?
I think we maybe need to rename Stoneation.
To kick it.
I think
Nation.
It should be beyond the transaction.
Beyond the right.
Really what it is. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, no, seriously, and that's. Oh, I hope that doesn't limit or diminish what you're doing, because that's not the intent. The intent is to actually, it's all about the intent, right? I believe what I appreciate about what you're doing is you're taking the position of the consumer to find out the things you wish you would or could know, but that aren't readily available. This stuff doesn't fit on a one-page flyer. It doesn't fit on a Instagram post, right? This is the stuff that you're talking about, the core reasons why people wake up in the morning and do what they do. And that's a unique model and platform, and you've turned into a formula that's, I think, is highly successful. And I think anyone that has a chance to get on here or listen to this is fortunate to get those insights, because especially in the instant gratification era, it's just not there. People don't take the time to understand it's more about the meaning than just the image.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Young Hua, what does it mean for you?
This is my podcast, Tony. So, but no, I appreciate the kind words, and I love doing what I'm doing, obviously, because I do it on my own accord, and and I love, like what Lance was saying, hanging out and meeting people, and I think that's really the most satisfying thing is just being able to help other people, and I like giving people a platform to be able to speak almost directly to people that they typically wouldn't be able to, right? So, like with Volta, with Storyteller, and with the wait that people have to do, unfortunately, like, what are you going to do from now until a year or whatever, whenever you get your van? There's nothing to do other than consume. But also, what I've been told time again...
We are doing something about that.
Okay. But...
Can I chime in on this one?
Sure.
So we're fortunate to have the storytellers in our rental fleet. And so for the people that have put deposits on or are putting deposits on, we have pretty enticing programs to where... Andrew, am I going to violate my dealer agreement by saying this?
Absolutely not. Go ahead.
Redact.
So the customer still pays the same amount as any other storyteller would in total dollar amount. The way we do it is if you buy a storyteller rental with the intent of purchasing a storyteller, your deposit will go towards your purchase, which essentially equates to we gave you the rental. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And we have some limitations on that.
That's how we used to do it at our dealership. You come in, you'd rent an RV, you come back from having the time of your life. You either have the best time or the worst time in the RV, okay? Hey, here's your bill. Would you like to use that as your deposit to purchase an RV?
So kind of like a rent-to-buy almost.
It's like a rent-to-own, but the rental becomes free when you purchase.
Right.
And if you don't purchase, then you paid for your rental and you enjoyed your rental.
Yeah.
You lost nothing.
No skin loss.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Genius.
So, Tony, I kind of feel like you're avoiding this question. No, I'm just joking. No, that's a really cool program. But to wrap everything up, Tony, what does it mean for you to be part of the Stoneation community?
I think I hit that one, but
Okay.
I hit that one.
All right. Well, I don't know. We were talking about rentals, and did I get lost?
Beyond the transaction, Young Wa.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
No, again, the short version of what it means to me to be a part of Stoneation is to be the inquiry voice and learning side of the consumer, to understand the why and the what of the things you might consider buying before potentially experiencing buyer's remorse, right?
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. All right.
Young Hua, who are you interviewing next? Who's next? Who's next up on the podcast lineup?
Right now?
Yeah.
Well, you know who it is.
What? Tell me.
Buck from Volta.
Buck Wild. He's incredible.
I knew you were setting me up for something. That's why I don't want to answer.
He's amazing.
You knew that was coming.
Stoneation is a production of Park Media. The executive producer is Young Hua Kim. The audio engineer is
Stephen Grasso.
The marketing director is
Guillaume Golson.
The original music and artist is done by
Jason Walsmith.
The sound designer is
Lorenzo Interiano.
and the webmaster is
Peng Shi.
Without any of these people, this podcast couldn't happen, so a big, huge thank you. And a big, huge thank you to you, the listener. If you like this episode, please don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a 5-star review. This is Young Hua with Stoneation, and I can't wait to share the road with you.